Hello, guys, and welcome to Tropics Around the World, Episode 2. And we're going to be talking about two systems here because the other two don't really have a future. And this one is actually a tropical cyclone, so we could talk about that one. And the other one is a potential tropical cyclone in the making, with major implications to land later on. But that depends on if it goes farther west or it goes farther east, which we'll take a look at that here momentarily. This is Tropical Cyclone Billy, and this was as of 12 UTC or 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This was centered about 17.3 south, 96.3 east. Maximum sustained winds are 55 knots or 65 miles an hour. And minimal central pressure is at 993 millibars. And as you can see here, it looks like a triangle. All right, but it looked like a triangle earlier, but it looks like it's starting to circulate and become a circular again here in the latest frames. And there's still some deep convection here that's really trying to blow up here. So this may be still trying to keep alive here as we go out through the next little bit here. We're gonna have to see what the Joint Typhoon Warning Center has for this going forward. And as you can see, 55 knots right now, and then 50, 45, 40, 35. So they expect this to stay a tropical cyclone for at least 2 more days, which is pretty awesome. This is going to be no threat to land here. As you can see, it's just not a threat to any landmass whatsoever. So that's good news. We always love to see these tropical cyclones and not hit any land whatsoever. That's just our goal here to keep everybody safe. All right, so here is the GEFS tracks and minimal MSLP, and as you can see, 994. So this is not a really bad initialization here, and as you can see, it sticks within the 1,000 to 990 millibars for at least 24 more hours, and then it gets blasted with dry air and shear going forward throughout time. So this still has a little bit to go, like 2 more days, maybe a day and a half before it says goodbye to any tropical characteristics. All right, so here's the GEPS track in minimal MSLP, and as you can see here, this is not a good initialization, as it's like 6 or 7 millibars off the pressure, but as you can see throughout time, it sticks between 1,000 and 990 in some of these locations. So it's pretty much the same deal as the GEFS. So both of these agree in that it doesn't have much of a future left in it, but because it's a cyclone right now, we're going to be talking about it. So here we are. We're going to take a look at the Ecmwf for Billy right now. And as you can see, this was initialized at 12Z, and that's at a 993 right now. So as you can see, going out through time, 24 hours, we're at 997 here. And let's see what the soundings are. 24 knots of shear and 55% relative humidity, which is a big no-no. So what the shear is doing is wrapping around that, that dry air. When dry air is around, it's the shear that helps penetrate the core of the system, and that's what weakens tropical cyclones substantially as you go out through time. And as you can see, 48 hours out, there's literally nothing left to it besides a few rain showers. 24 knots and 37 relative humidity, which is definitely not good for this system. And as you can see, 72 hours out, it's still trying to hold on a little bit, but it's not doing anything. 46 knots of shear, that's a big no-no, and 55% relative humidity is so-so. So we're going to go out farther, and as you can see, it really just doesn't do anything with it for the remainder of its future. So now we're going to take a look at the GFS here, and this was initialized at 12Z. We're at 996, and we're going to go 24 hours. There's 999. We're going to take a look at the soundings here. There is 32 knots of shear and 50% relative humidity, which is not, like I said, isn't good for a tropical cyclone of this nature. All right, so 27 knots and 37 knots is, like I said, it's just not going to cut the mustard, as they say. And as you get to towards the 66-hour mark, it just fizzles out. And then you see a new cyclone here that forms up here. But we might as well go take a look at this. This is pretty interesting here. 991 millibars. This could be something later on in the long term, since this is pretty much taking shape here in the next 120 hours. So you guys got a sneak peek of another tropical cyclone in the making, probably, since this is only 5 days out, and the precursor low is pretty much there as we speak. So 21%, knots, or not 21%, but 21 knots of shear and 84% relative humidity. The relative humidity is good, but the shear is so. So now we're going to take a look at the European here, and as you can see, 1,000 millibars. The European does not like this system whatsoever. 25 knots of shear, 49% relative humidity. So that's a big no. We're going to go 48 hours, and as you can see, kind of just meanders like a whole lot here, and then dissipates near the 75-hour mark. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this, this other cyclone in the making here, and see if European does much with it. And obviously, I forgot that we were on 60 because we can only go 90 hours out. And as you can see, this is the precursor low right here in the center of the Indian Ocean. We're going to take a look at what the sounding is for this situation here. 14 knots of shear, 71% relative humidity. So it's not too bad. Not too bad. Like I said, I'm going to be paying attention to this for you guys. I mean, it's too soon to even think about it hitting anywhere if it does. But I'll definitely keep in touch with you guys about this system going forward. All right, so now we're going to talk about Invest 91B here. And this is located at 4.0 north, 87.9 east. Max sustained winds are 20 knots or 25 miles per hour. Minimal system pressure is at 1,007 millibars. So we're going to take a look here at the IR here. And I love these IR images here. You can see that there's a big blob here. I'm not too sure if this big blob right here is where the center is. My guess is the center is in between this big blob and the smaller blob. If I had to take a guess, somebody can obviously correct me if I'm wrong here, but that is where I think that the center is. Unless it's right here in the big blob, because it looks like this convection is rotating. Yeah, I don't know. When storms look like this, you can't really tell very well what the center looks like. Actually, let's go to visible, and I forgot that we are in nighttime, so I guess we cannot look at that. So let's see, visible shortwave. Yeah, you can't really tell where the center is here. I'm guessing it's somewhere in this big blob, or if not, it's right in the center of both these blobs here. So we're just going to have to see how it all plans out over the next several days to come. All right, so here is the GEFS, tracks in minimal MSLP, and right now it's a mess. It doesn't really do much with it in the next 48 hours, but after the 48-hour time period, some of these ensembles here, take it to 1,990, 980s, someone in the 980s to 970s. Like I said, we're just going to have to see how this all pans out as we go out through time. As you guys see, the GEPS is not as enthusiastic as the GEFS, though, and that seems to be mostly the case anytime these models run. I feel like the GEPS isn't typically, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not aggressive, but conservative. Conservative. There we go. As you can see, some of these members only get up to 1,000 to 990 millibars. So, obviously this is good news that the GEPS does pan out, but I have a really bad feeling that's probably not going to be the case as we go out through time. Obviously, I'm not hype casting. I don't hype cast. I just tell it how it is. So now we're going to take a look at the GFS here. And as you can see, we go out to 108 hours. This is when it starts to really consolidate here near some of these islands here. And like I said, some of you people in the islands need to pay attention to this system, because this could be a big troublemaker for you guys as we go out through time. So here we are at hour 108, and we got 13 knots of shear and 95% relative humidity. So this is pretty decent for growth of a tropical system. So those island chains need to pay attention to what's going on with this here. And now we got to 983 at the 5-day mark, and obviously I'm not going to go any farther than this, or it's just going to be pretty unreliable. I mean, getting up to 5 days is unreliable enough as it is, but getting up past 5 days, that's when it gets super unreliable. And here we go with 13 knots a shear and 94% relative humidity. So, these are pretty much a go here for a strengthening tropical cyclone in the making. So we're just going to have to see, what it does with the conditions that it has going into the future. All right, so here is the Ecmwf, and as you can see, we're going to go out until we see something here, which I don't think we will. It looks like the Ecmwf is not enthusiastic with this system. It does have a lot of monsoonal rain here, but we have not seen the European move on board with the GFS here, and I honestly think the GFS is doing better in this situation because, last night it was looking really damn good. So we're going to have to see if the European actually folds to the GFS or not, which will be interesting to see. All right, so here's the Ecmwf, and this is going to be a wonky run here. As you can see, 1,000 millibars. As we go out through time, it heads back down towards the equator somehow. So this run is pretty iffy here. I don't know if to take this run with a grain of salt. We probably will, but it's something to look at anyways. We got 18 knots a shear, 92% relative humidity. This is 87 hours out, and we're at a pressure of 996 millibars. But as you can see, it doesn't do too much with it, but keep it like a modest tropical storm throughout the 5-day time period. And we're at 18 knots a shear and 87% relative humidity here. So, I think Ecmwf needs to, catch up a little bit. Maybe. I don't know if GFS is an outlier or not yet. It's still too soon to really say or not. But as far as sea surface temperatures go in this region, we are talking about 29s and 30s. So, obviously we got the sea surface temperatures there for the system to feed off of if everything else works with it. But we will see what happens as we go forward. I think my personal opinion is I think this forms, but we will see if it goes towards the Ecmwf or the GFS in terms of intensification and track, because obviously this has been said. The farther west that goes, the less favorable conditions that it has. If it goes farther east, it will have more favorable conditions. So that's really going to matter here as we go forward through time. Does it head more west or does it go more east? And that that's going to have implications towards land's impacts too. So I will keep on top of this for you guys as we go forward through time. And with that being said, this is my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys liked it, leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want more updates like this. I try to upload every single day for you guys. And I will have another episode of Tropics Around the World tomorrow, along with maybe a off-season or hurricane outlook and discussion. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day.